Namaste, Dandavat Pranam. By the instruction and grace of our spiritual master, Om Vishnupad, Paramahamsa, Sripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj, we are here reading Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And we're also honoring the appearance day of Om Vishnupad Satchidananda, Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai. Text, chapter Canto 4, the creation of the fourth order. Chapter 16, text 3. Atapyudarashrava Pṛthu Hare Kalhavatarhasya Katamrata Drita Yato Padesham Muni Bi Prachodita Shlagyani Karmani Vayam Vitanmahi. Although we are unable to glorify you adequately, we nonetheless have a transcendental taste for glorifying your activities. We shall try to glorify you according to the instructions received from authoritative sages and scholars. Whatever we speak, however, is always inadequate and very insignificant. Dear King, because you are direct incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, all your activities are liberal and ever laudable. Dandavat Pranamananda Krishna Prabhu.
Dandavat Krishna Keshava Prabhu.
Purport. However expert one may be, he can never describe the glories of the Lord adequately. Nonetheless, those engaged in glorifying the activities of the Lord should try to do so as far as possible. Such an attempt will please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord Chaitanya has advised all his followers to go everywhere and preach the message of Lord Krishna. Since this message is essentially Bhagavad Gita, the preacher's duty is to study Bhagavad Gita as it is understood by disciplic succession and explained by great sages and learned devotees. One should speak to the general populace in accordance with one's predecessors, sadhu, guru, and shastras. This simple process is the easiest method by which one can glorify the Lord. Devotional service, however, is the real method, for by any devotional service one can satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead with just a few words. Without devotional service, volumes of books cannot satisfy the Lord. Even though preachers of the Krishna consciousness movement may be unable to describe the glories of the Lord, they can nonetheless go everywhere and request people to chant Hare Krishna. Text 4. Isha dharma pratam shresto lokam dharme nubhartayan gopta cha dharma setunam shasta tat paripantinam. This king, Maharaj Pṛthu, is the best amongst those who are following religious principles. As such, he will engage everyone in the pursuit of religious principles and give those principles all protection. He will also be a great chastiser to the irreligious and atheistic. Purport. The duty of the king or the head of government is described very nicely in this verse. It is the duty of the governmental head to see that people strictly follow a religious life. A king should also be strict in chastising the atheists. In other words, an atheistic or godless government should never be supported by a king or governmental chief. That is the test of good government. In the name of secular government, the king or governmental head remains neutral and allows people to engage in all sorts of irreligious activities. In such a state, people cannot be happy, despite all economic development. However, in this age of Kali, there are no pious kings. Instead, rogues and thieves are elected to head the government. But how can the people be happy without religion and God consciousness? The rogues exact taxes from the citizens for their own sense enjoyment. And in the future, the people will be so much harassed that according to Srimad Bhagavatam, they will flee from their homes and country and take shelter in the forest. However, in Kali Yuga, democratic government can be captured by Krishna-conscious people. If this can be done, the general populace can be made very happy. Text 5. Ishavailokapalanam bibhartye kastanotanu kale kale yata bhagam lokayor ubayor hitam. Dandavat pranamam Devi.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
This king alone, in his own body, will be able in due course of time to maintain all living entities and keep them in a pleasant condition by manifesting himself as different demigods to perform various departmental activities. Thus he will maintain the upper planetary system by inducing the populace to perform Vedic sacrifices. In due course of time, he will also maintain this earthly planet by discharging proper rainfall. Purport. The demigods in charge of the various departmental activities that maintain this world are but assistants to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When an incarnation of Godhead descends to this planet, demigods like the sun god, the moon god, or the king of heaven, Indra, all join him. Consequently, the incarnation of Godhead is able to act for the departmental demigods to keep planetary systems in order. The protection of the earthly planet is dependent upon proper rainfall, and as stated in Bhagavad Gita and other scriptures, sacrifices are performed to please those demigods who are in charge of rainfall. Anhad bhavanti bhutani parjanyad anasambhava yadhyad bhavati parjanyo yadhya karma samudbhava. All living bodies subsist on food grains which are produced from rains. Rains are produced by performance of yajna, sacrifice, and yajna is born of prescribed duties. Thus, the proper execution of yajna, sacrifice, is required. As indicated herein, King Pṛthu alone would induce all the citizens to engage in such sacrificial activities, so that there would not be scarcity or distress. In Kali Yuga, however, the so-called secular state, the executive branch of government, is in charge of the so-called kings and presidents, who are all fools and rascals, ignorant of the intricacies of nature's causes and ignorant to the principle of sacrifice. Such rascals simply make various plans which always fail, and the people subsequently suffer disturbances. To counteract this situation, the Shastras advise Haranam, Haranam, Haranam eva kevalam, Kolo nasteva 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 gatir anyata. Thus, in order to counteract this unfortunate situation in government, the general populace is advised to chant the Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Text 6. Vashukala upadhate kale chayam vimunchati samasarveshu bhuteshu pratapan surya bhadvibhu. This King Pṛthu will be as powerful as the sun god, and just as the sun god equally distributes his sunshine to everyone, King Pṛthu will distribute his mercy equally. Similarly, just as the sun god evaporates water for 8 months, and during the rainy season returns it profusely, this king will also exact taxes from the citizens and return these monies in times of need. Purport. The process of tax exaction is very nicely explained in this verse. Tax exaction is not meant for sense gratification of so-called administrative heads. Tax revenues should be distributed to the citizens in times of need, during emergencies such as famine or flood. Tax revenues should never be distributed amongst governmental servants in the form of high salaries and various other allowances. In Kali Yuga, however, the position of the citizens is very horrible because taxes are exacted in so many forms and are spent for the personal comforts of the administrators. The example of the sun in this verse is very appropriate. The sun is many millions of miles away from the earth, and although the sun does not actually touch the earth, it manages to distribute land all over the planet by exacting water from the oceans and seas, and it also manages to make that land fertile by distributing water during the rainy season. As an ideal king, King Pṛthu would execute all this business in the village and state as expertly as the sun. Text 7. Titikshatyakramam vainya uparyakramatam api bhutanam karuna shasvad artanam kshiti vrittiman. This King Pṛthu will be very happy, very kind to all citizens. Even though a poor person may trample over the king's head by violating the rules and regulations, the king, out of his causeless mercy, will be forgetful and forgiving. As a protector of the world, he will be as tolerant as the earth itself. Purport. King Pṛthu is herein compared to the earthly planet as far as his tolerance is concerned. Although the earth is always trampled upon by men and animals, it still gives food to them by producing grains, fruits, and vegetables. As an ideal king, Maharaj Pṛthu is compared to the earthly planet, for even though some citizens might violate the rules and regulations of the state, he would still be tolerant and maintain them with fruits and grains. In other words, it is the duty of the king to look after the comforts of the citizens, even at the cost of his own personal convenience. This is not the case, however, in Kali Yuga, for in Kali Yuga the kings and heads of state enjoy life at the cost of taxes exacted from the citizens. Such unfair taxation makes people dishonest, and the people try to hide their income in so many ways. Eventually, the state will not be able to collect taxes and consequently will not be able to meet its huge military and administrative expenses. Everything will collapse and there will be chaos and disturbance all over the state. Text 8. Deve varsatya so devo naradeva vapur hari kritra prana prajahesha rakshishyatyanchis handravat. When there is no rainfall and the citizens are in great danger due to the scarcity of water, this royal personality of Godhead will be able to supply rains exactly like the heavenly king Indra. Thus he will very easily be able to protect the citizens from drought. Purport. King Pṛthu is very appropriately compared to the sun and the demigod Indra. King Indra, of the heavenly planets, is in charge of distributing water over the earth and other planetary systems. It is indicated that King Pṛthu would arrange for the distribution of rainfall personally if Indra failed to discharge his duty properly. Sometimes the king of heaven Indra would become angry at the inhabitants of earth if they did not offer sacrifices to appease him. King Pṛthu, however, being an incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, did not depend on the mercy of the heavenly king. It is foretold herein that if there would be scarcity of rain, King Pṛthu would manage to counteract the deficiency of virtue of his godly powers. Such powers were also exhibited by Lord Krishna when he was present in Vrindavan. Indeed, when Indra poured incessant water on Vrindavan for 7 days, the inhabitants were protected by Krishna, who raised Govardhan Hill over their heads as a great umbrella. Thus, Lord Krishna is also known as Govardhan Dhari. Text 9. Apyayatyas solokam vadamrata mortina sanuraghavalokena vishadasmita charuna. This king, Pṛthu Maharaj, by virtue of his affectionate glances and beautiful moon-like face, which was always smiling with great affection for all citizens, will enhance everyone's peaceful life. And thus ends our reading for today. We will continue from text 10 on Wednesday. Are there any comments or questions or anything from the assembled devotees? Today's very auspicious day, Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur's appearance day.
Yes, Prabhu. Appearance day. Tomorrow, disappearance of Haridas Thakur.
Very auspicious time, huh? All these
Yeah.
great saintly appearance days and disappearance days. Jai. I saw one video from Srila Shanta Maharaj. They were making rasgullas from the milk of their goshal. You know,
Wow.
they have the cows there, so they're making the milk, and the rasgullas are very wonderful Bengali sweets. And then they're going to Surabi Kunj to distribute them for Bhaktivedanta Thakur's appearance day. So that also inspired me. I'm going to try to make some rasgullas later.
Wonderful sweet rasagula.
Yes. Okay. Jai. Okay. Jai Vishnupad Paramahamsa, Sripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Srila Prabhupada, Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Gurudev, Srila Acharya Dev, Srila Shanta Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Rupa Nuga Guru Varga Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the worldwide devotees, Sama Bhakti Veda Vrinda Ki Jai. Jai Navadvip Dham Ki Jai, Nrsimhapuri Dham Ki Jai, Mayapur Dham Ki Jai, Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai, Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Ju Ki Jai, Ganga Mai Yamuna Mai Ki Jai, Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Giri Govardhan Gupta Govardhan Dham Ki Jai, Sham Kund Radha Kund Ki Jai, Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Vrinda Devi Ki Jai, Jai Harinam Sankirtan Yagya Ki Jai, Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai, Scientific Sankirtan Yagya Ki Jai, Princeton Bhaktivedanta Institute Ki Jai, Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Institute Ki Jai, Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Ki Jai. Avibhav Maha Mahotsav, Om Vishnupad Satchidananda, Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur Ki Jai. Nitai, Gaura Premanandi, Hari 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 Bol. Jai Shrimati Uma Devi Dasi Ki Jai, Jai Shripadananda Krishna Prabhu Ki Jai.
Who is Mother and Sri Radharamana Temple, my seed.
Radharaman Temple, okay.
Yes,
Very beautiful.
Raj.
Jai Prabhu, very wonderful.
Now returning my home.
This is your home.
No. It's my is ashram of Sridhara Maharaj.
Oh, very nice. Beautiful deities.
Okay.
Very nice. Jai Prabhu. My dandavats to all the devotees there, to Sripad Srivakram Maharaj also.
Dandavat.
Dandavats.
Dandavat.